The pressure's absolutely boiling over at Ibrox right now, and it feels like we're reaching a point of no return. The mood among the support is heavy. There's frustration in the stands, online, outside the stadium. Everywhere you look, there's a growing sense that change needs to come, and it needs to come fast. Russell Martin was brought in with the hope of steadying the ship, of giving Rangers a clear identity on the pitch, but what we've seen so far has been anything but that. It's been a disaster, plain and simple. We're just 5 games into the new Scottish Premiership season, and Rangers are already in 10th place. 10th. For a club of this size, with its history, its demands, and above all its expectations, that kind of start simply isn't acceptable. Not when you're already trailing Celtic by 9 points. Not when you failed to win a single match in the league. And now, with the heat turning up week after week, the conversation has moved beyond tactics and lineups. It's now about who could replace Russell Martin, and one name keeps coming back louder than ever. But before we get into that, let's talk about what's happening off the pitch. The Union Bears, one of the most passionate and vocal supporter groups, have now made their stance crystal clear. They're planning a full-scale protest outside Ibrox this Saturday, just before the Premier Sports Cup tie against Hibernian. The group's calling for fans to gather at the main entrance from 4:30, ahead of the 5:45 kickoff, and the message they're sending couldn't be more direct. They want both Russell Martin and CEO Patrick Stewart gone. This isn't just noise. This is serious, organized action, and it shows just how far things have fallen in such a short space of time. The statement they put out doesn't hold back. They accuse Martin of being completely unfit to manage Rangers, claiming the performances under him have been nothing short of disgraceful. And you know what? It's hard to argue with that. The team looks lost. There's no structure, no spark, and no sense that we're building towards anything positive. As for Patrick Stewart, the fans have had enough of his leadership too. The feeling is that he's quick to criticize supporters, but when it comes to owning up to his own mistakes, like the hiring of Russell Martin in the first place, he's nowhere to be seen. In the eyes of the fans, he made the wrong call, and now the club's paying the price. They're saying his position is no longer tenable. And if the new ownership doesn't act, the fans are warning they'll have no choice but to take matters into their own hands. Saturday's protest might just be the beginning. Now, back to the name that's got everyone talking again, Steven Gerrard. For a lot of fans, Gerrard's time at Rangers is remembered as a turning point. His arrival brought hope, brought structure, and eventually brought that long-awaited Premiership title in 2021. That season, when Rangers went unbeaten and completely halted Celtic's dominance, will live forever in the memories of this support. It wasn't just about lifting the trophy, it was about restoring pride. Since leaving for Aston Villa not long after that famous campaign, Gerrard's journey hasn't exactly been smooth. His time in Birmingham ended with him out the door, and his move to Saudi Arabia with Al Ettifaq fizzled out earlier this year. Since then, he's kept a low profile, stepping away from the constant pressure of management and choosing instead to focus on time with his family. In a chat with Peter Crouch earlier this year, he even admitted he was enjoying life away from the game, saying he was happy to be free of the stress, to enjoy a pint at the pub or a round of golf. But here's the thing. Sometimes football pulls you back in whether you like it or not. And when the club that gave you your first shot in management comes calling again, the pull is even stronger. Right now, with the state Rangers are in, there's a growing belief that Gerrard might just be the man to turn things around once more. Greg Stewart, who played under Gerrard during that title-winning season, certainly thinks so. He's come out and said it would be a no-brainer to bring him back. According to Stewart, Gerrard's teams had something this current one is sorely lacking, an identity, a way of playing, a spirit that made them tough to beat and exciting to watch. And let's be honest, you don't need to be a tactical genius to see that the current Rangers side doesn't have any of those things right now. Stewart even said he's tempted to pick up the phone himself and beg Gerrard to return. That's how desperate things are getting. And it's not just former players feeling this way. The wider fan base is clearly hungry for a leader who can restore belief and bring back the standards the club was once known for. The standards that feel like they've completely evaporated under Russell Martin. But of course, there's a question that needs to be asked. Would Gerrard even want to come back? Earlier this year, he didn't sound too keen on jumping straight back into the dugout. He talked about how much he was enjoying life without the stress and intensity of management. But football's a strange game. Sometimes all it takes is the right job, the right timing, and the right motivation to bring someone back. And if there's one job that could tempt him, it's this one. Because Gerrard's name is still sung at Ibrox. His legacy still means something. And right now, he's being spoken about like a savior. But let's not forget, things didn't end perfectly last time. His exit to Aston Villa came mid-season and left a lot of fans feeling abandoned. There are some who'll never quite forgive him for that. But football's also about second chances. And if the club is serious about getting back on track, then at the very least, Gerrard deserves to be part of the conversation. Now, while the noise around Gerrard continues to grow, there are others in the Rangers family voicing their concerns too. Barry Ferguson, a legend at this club, has revealed the list of players he would have gone after in the summer if he'd been given the manager's job. Ferguson, who had a brief spell in interim charge before Russell Martin was appointed, hasn't hidden his frustration with how the season started. He said it's painful to watch, and like every Rangers man, he just wants to see the team winning again. According to Ferguson, there were several SPFL players that could have made a big difference, and they wouldn't have broken the bank either. Lawrence Shankland was one of them. He's been in brilliant form and just scored twice at Ibrox for Hearts last weekend. Ferguson said you could have picked him up on a free transfer. He doesn't care about his age. The guy knows how to score goals. And when you've got someone with that kind of instinct in the box, that's exactly what Rangers need right now. Josh Mulligan was another one on his radar. Young, energetic, and someone who clearly caught Ferguson's eye during his time watching players up close. And he didn't stop there. He mentioned Vax Laverne as a no-brainer signing and even pointed out the ongoing ignorance towards Scottish talent in general. He name-checked players like Josh Doig, Aaron Hickey, his own nephew Lewis Ferguson, all players who've come through the Scottish system and prove they've got what it takes. Ferguson made it clear, there are lads in this league who could absolutely do a job for Rangers. And in terms of finances, they're far more accessible than some of the foreign gambles the club has taken lately. He even mentioned Alex Gogic from Street Mirren as the kind of player who might not be flashy, but brings aggression, leadership, and a proper understanding of the Scottish game. The kind of presence Rangers seem to be missing on the pitch right now. There's a growing belief among the support that Rangers have drifted too far from what made them strong. The foundations that brought success just a few years ago, hunger, discipline, tactical identity, a spine of Scottish players who understood the badge, all that seems to have been forgotten. The frustration isn't just about results, it's about how the team feels. Right now, it doesn't feel like Rangers. That's why names like Gerrard, Ferguson, and even players like Shankland stir something in people. They represent a time when Rangers had bite, when they had direction, and more importantly, when they looked like a team you could believe in. Russell Martin, for all the good intentions he might have come in with, just hasn't been able to connect. Not with the players. Not with the fans. Not even with the results. His post-match comments have only added fuel to the fire. When asked if he still had the backing of the Rangers board, his response wasn't confident or defiant. It was a simple "we'll see." That kind of answer doesn't inspire belief. It sends a message that even he knows the writing's on the wall. And once a manager gives off that kind of energy, it's hard to see how he turns things around. What's worse is that performances on the pitch have been flat, disjointed, and completely lacking any fight. At Ibrox, fans expect a certain standard. They expect players to give everything, to press with intensity, to fight for every ball. Instead, they're watching a team that looks unsure of itself. The passing is slow, the defending is shaky, and going forward there's no rhythm. And when that happens week after week, the pressure doesn't just build, it explodes. The danger now is that this season could be written off before it's even begun. Being 9 points off the top this early is already a disaster, but it's more than just the gap to Celtic. It's the fear that, under this current setup, Rangers are going nowhere. The board's hesitation to act is only making things worse. Every day they wait, the atmosphere grows more toxic. And when fans are organizing protests outside the stadium, you know it's not just online noise anymore. It's real. That's why Gerrard's name carries so much weight in this moment. Say what you will about how things ended the first time, but under him, Rangers were organized, motivated, and they knew what it meant to wear that shirt. His presence commanded respect, and his teams played with purpose. Compare that to what we're seeing now, it's night and day. The return of someone like Gerrard might not be a long-term solution, but in the short term, It could stabilize a club that's rapidly losing control of the wheel. But this can't be just about one man. Whoever steps in next, whether it's Gerrard or someone else entirely, needs to be backed properly. That means smarter recruitment. That means giving real value to the Scottish market. Barry Ferguson's words aren't just nostalgic ramblings from a club legend. They're a wake-up call. There's talent in this league. Players who can step into this side and raise the level. Players who understand the fight. The idea that Rangers need to look abroad for every answer has proven costly. And when you're in a rebuild, you don't need luxury. You need substance. Ferguson talked about players like Alex Gogic. He's not glamorous. He's not going to sell shirts. But he's exactly the type of character Rangers are missing. Aggressive, disciplined, and vocal. He leads by example. Stick him in the middle of that pitch, and you've got someone who sets a tone. That's what the team is crying out for right now. Not just ability, but personality. There's also the wider issue of accountability at board level. Fans are looking at Patrick Stewart and asking serious questions. His decision to bring in Russell Martin, and the refusal to front up when it started going wrong, has damaged trust. The appointment didn't feel ambitious, and the results have confirmed those fears. And when supporters feel like their club is being mismanaged from the top down, that's when unrest becomes unstoppable. The message from the stands is clear. If the people in charge don't act soon, they'll lose the backing of the fans altogether. We're in a critical moment for Rangers Football Club. This isn't just a run of poor form. It's a potential crisis if it's not dealt with swiftly and properly. The new owners, who came in with talk of progress and investment, are now facing their first real test. It's easy to talk about vision when things are going well. It's when the storm hits that you see what leadership really looks like. Will they stick with a manager who's clearly out of his depth? Or will they take decisive action before this season slips even further away? Because make no mistake, the longer this goes on, the harder it'll be to recover. Fans are already switching off. The atmosphere inside Ibrox is tense, nervous, and increasingly hostile. And when that bond between club and support starts to fray, it takes more than a win or two to fix it. It takes real change, real leadership, and a manager who understands exactly what Rangers is meant to be. If Steven Gerrard is that man, he'll need to be ready to walk back into a dressing room that's fractured and a fan base that's wounded. But if he's up for the fight, and if the board is willing to back him with the right tools, then maybe, just maybe, there's a path forward. One that gets Rangers back to where they belong. Not just challenging, but setting the standard. And if it's not Gerrard, then whoever comes in next better know exactly what they're walking into. Because the supporters aren't going to accept another season of excuses, false dawns, and empty promises. They want a team to be proud of, a manager they can believe in, and a club that stands for something again. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Glasgow has been set abuzz with one of the most surprising whispers of the season. Rangers are said to be on the verge of bringing Dundee FC's talisman, Simon Murray, to Ibrox. The chatter, which first began in pubs along Paisley Road and quickly spread through supporters groups online, paints a picture of a move that few saw coming. Murray, long admired for his tireless work rate and knack for finding the net in crucial moments, has been the heart of Dundee's resurgence. To see him in royal blue would be nothing short of a shock for many. The rumor mill insists that backroom conversations have taken place, with murmurs that Rangers hierarchy view Murray not just as a squad option, but as a player who can immediately lift the tempo of their attack. At 30, he carries both experience and hunger, attributes that fit neatly into the current narrative of Rangers seeking battle-tested talent rather than gambles on unproven youth. Some insiders even suggest Murray himself is keen, enticed by the prospect of European nights under the lights at Ibrox. Dundee supporters, understandably, have reacted with disbelief. Murray has been more than a goalscorer. He has been a symbol of grit and determination, qualities that endeared him deeply to the Dens Park faithful. The very idea of losing him to one of Scotland's giants feels like a cruel twist in a season where optimism had just begun to build. Still, the reality of football economics means few clubs can resist when Glasgow comes calling. For Rangers, if the whispers are true, this would be a signing laced with statement value. It would not be about glamour, but about intent. a message that they are searching every corner of the league for players who bleed commitment. Nothing official has yet been said, and perhaps the rumor will remain just that, the stuff of speculation and late-night conversation. But for now, the thought of Simon Murray pulling on the famous blue shirt has thrown an unexpected spark into Scottish football's ever-turning rumor wheel. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.